Okay, we've seen lots of conversations yesterday and this morning about how we're all adapting to the new world, and Future in the UK has done more adapting than most, you might say. And to tell us about the journey that they have taken and are taking into that new digital age, please welcome the man with possibly the longest business card in UK business, the Managing Director of Media, Games, Video and Entertainment at Future, Julian March.
Guten Tag, meine Damen und Herren. I'm sorry, I'm going to stick to English. I hope you don't mind. But anyway, thank you very much for having me. Thank you for that introduction. I am indeed Julian March. Just in case you were wondering, I am the same person as in the picture on the publicity, but I took my winter coat off a little bit too early, it seems. Anyway, I am indeed Managing Director of Media, Games, Video and Entertainment. Yes, there is a lot there. I come from Future. We started life out as a magazine publisher 30 years ago, but now we like to consider ourselves as a global platform for specialist media, changing people's lives by sharing our knowledge and expertise to help people do what they want to do and have more fun doing it. We run magazines, remember them? Websites and events in what we call high passion verticals. So that's verticals like gaming, consumer tech, homes, photography, creative and design, and even space. I joined Future 18 months ago. My background is actually in television news. I spent a long time at Sky News, went on to ITV in the UK, and after that, NBC out in New York. I looked to Star Trek for inspiration for this talk, but I have to apologize. I think we should all apologize to Mr. Spock, actually, because he's been woefully misquoted all these years for his phrase that he never actually said. It's life, Jim, but not as we know it. But on this snowy Berlin day, I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, that it's digital, guys, but not as we knew it. And I'll explain what I mean there. So back when I started in digital in 2006, the digital that we were striving for and working towards is massively different to the digital we find ourselves in 2018. And we've seen, and I'm sure you guys have all seen as premium publishers, massive changes in that time. And 5 years ago, Future very nearly didn't have a future because we really, really needed to adapt. And I just wanted to share with you guys what we've learned. So for us, the new digital is about three big things, three massive concepts, three critical success factors for us to survive: quality, diversification, and value. Now, in the age of the duopoly and fake news and near digital saturation, it's more important than ever that we, as premium publishers, stand out and differentiate ourselves, and cut through. So I wanted to talk through these things, which I believe are the ways in which we can do it. So let's just talk about quality first. Quality touches many, many different areas. As producers of premium content, we believe it's really, really important that our content is of the highest quality possible. But besides the quality of content, we hold very close to our heart the quality of engagement our audience has with that content. And of course, we also really care about the quality of the audience itself. In fact, both we and our commercial partners really care that they are, in fact, real human beings rather than just bots, for obvious reasons. Now, I know, guys, it's nearly lunchtime. I'm sure you're all thinking about food. So what I thought I'd do, just to help you keep your focus and maintain your concentration, I'd come out with a food analogy. And where better to look than the world of wine? We really, really care, don't we, all, about what we put in our mouths to eat and drink. I'm a bit of a wine buff myself, so I look towards the winemakers of Europe for these logos. The Denominazione d'origine controllata from Italy, the Appellation contrôlée from France, and of course right here, the Qualitätswein. All marks of quality and provenance to enable consumers to trust what they're getting. Now this is, I'm afraid, where I show my bias, because my wife is Italian. Now, we all know there's only one Parmigiano Reggiano. And don't let anyone tell you that their Grana Padano is in fact Parmesan cheese, because it's not. Equally, our Spanish friends would be horrified if they confuse, or people confuse, their jamón ibérico with prosciutto di Parma, as sold by Waitrose and many other good supermarkets all over Europe. And so it is with our brands. So this is Tech Radar. This is our home for consumer tech buying advice. This is our review of the Apple HomePod. And you can trust that review with its 3.5 stars. Sorry, Apple. Because our journalists have been there. Infinite Loop Cupertino for the actual launch of the HomePod. There is Matt Swider doing his thing, senior mobile and buying guides editor for Tech Radar. Enough of the tech, let's go into music, one of my favorite verticals. This guy is Neville Martin, the editor of Guitar Techniques. Now, Neville mended or fixed Jimi Hendrix's famous Stratocaster. Of course, we all know what Jimi Hendrix did to his guitars, but he's a mate of Eric Clapton. He's played with them all. You name them, he's played with them. Been there, done that. This lady is Gemma Lavender. Dr. Gemma Lavender to you and me, because she's just got her PhD in astrophysics. She's the editor of All About Space. Now, Buzz Aldrin will give her a world exclusive because he knows that she knows exactly what he's talking about. And if you ever hang out at ESA, the European Space Agency, you might even bump into Dr. Lavender. Now, I'm sure you guys, as premium publishers, all have experts like Gemma, Neville, Matt, and others, and we've all got to understand just quite how crucial they all are to delivering real quality content. So let's talk about engagement. It's really important, as I said, for us to understand how engaged our users are. How often do they come? How long do they spend on the site? Where do they come from? Do they just chance upon the site through happenstance or serendipity or a friend's social feed? Or do they come with intent? Do they come direct through our front door, or do they come with intent via search? But of course, the fans that are most engaged are the guys that, of a weekend after a hard day's work, get up, draw the curtains, look outside, see the snow, and still brave the British trains to come into Birmingham, like they're doing today, for the photography show, 20,000 of them. Or to the London Drum Show. Now, just to warn you, that's a really noisy one, so I'd really suggest bringing your earplugs. But the guys who come to our events are super, super engaged. They're right at the top of the engagement pyramid. Many of them subscribe to our magazines and have done, in many cases, for decades even. But what they have in common with many of our magazine subscribers is that they visit our websites many, many more times than the average user. In some cases, up to 8 times or even 10 times more. Right at the top of the pyramid of engagement. And then there's quality of audience. Now, we like to talk about a little cycle here, and I'll explain what it means. Discover, engage, purchase. Now, what am I talking about? I'm afraid I don't know the German word for this, or indeed the Italian or the French word. but it's like a funnel. Everyone knows what a funnel is, don't they? Our funnel looks a little bit like this. So our users come to Google with a big burning question that they want the answer to, like, what's the best laptop? They engage with our reviews and buying guides written by people like Matt. And then, thanks to our proprietary e-commerce technology, we push them through and surface the best prices from Amazon and other retailers so that they can make those purchases and get what they want. And so with that funnel, what we're doing is bringing to ourselves and to our commercial partners a high quality and qualified audience with intent that we can all make money from. So that's quality. Digital, as I see it, is also about diversification. Now, we cannot all put all of our eggs in one basket, nor can we rely on a single source of revenue, nor indeed rely on a single source of traffic. So we've got to make our content work really, really hard. So let me show you our wheel. So this is a diagram that we use throughout our business, and it actually is a prism through which we see absolutely everything we do. So we take our content, informed by data, and we push it through that prism and monetize it in all of those different ways. Membership and subscriptions, advertising, events, integrated marketing. We even sell magazines in shops still. E-commerce, which I just talked about. We also make content for other people with content publishing and licensing. PC Gamer, for example, has a fantastic version of our magazine in Sweden. And we also sell our platform as a service. But often, we bring those revenue streams together and connect them in a kind of narrative arc, which brings together and connects the online world, what happens in digital, with the physical world of events. So let me just explain what happens with PC Gamer. So we run an event called the PC Gamer Weekender. Guess what? It's for PC gamers, and it happens at the weekend. But in the run-up to that, we do a whole load of content, previewing that, building that narrative arc, which peaks in engagement at the event, full of PC gamers. But what's really great is that that event itself creates a whole load of content which we then put back online, extending the narrative arc and the lifespan of that event, and thereby extracting more value out of everything we do. So just onto the third critical success factor that we see, totally important for our business, understanding value. Now, it pulls together some of the other things I've talked about, the quality of the audience, knitting together that narrative arc across the digital and the physical world, and really understanding the value of the different types of content that we make. Now, we make lots of different types of content, and I'll just explain it to you. Now, I'm really lifting the kimono here and showing you right into Google Analytics. So this is the article, guess what, about the Samsung S9 release date. And you can see exactly what happens. It peaks, and then it dies off again. Now, you remember I told you I'm a news guy, or a former news guy, and I'm very well placed to tell you what happens to yesterday's news. Right? Fish and chip paper. On the other hand, our article about the best phones behaves very, very differently. We keep it updated, and we prolong its lifetime. We keep on updating it as new products come onto the market, we review new kit, and we keep that best phones list updated. Now, both articles and both article types have very, very different functions and perform very different roles in our ecosystem. Now, we couldn't just abandon news because we'd probably get half the audience that we get. But by understanding the value of each of those different types of article based on the average number of impressions and the lifespan of a particular article type, say, for example, a news article, or the search volume pushing to a buying guide, the click-through rate through that funnel of people coming and engaging with that article and going through to a vendor, the commission rates, the basket size of the products we're actually selling. So a 4K TV is more expensive than a set of Bluetooth headphones, has a big factor there. All of those things helps us understand the value of different types of article, and that in turn helps us understand what is the ideal balance of article types or content types that we put on our website. So we try to answer the questions everyone's asking in order to give the greatest value. Best laptops we talked about. And we tried to make sure that we appear as high as possible in search to make sure that we find the quality audience, the people in market looking for the answers to the biggest questions, so that when they're ready to buy, we're there for them with our proprietary e-commerce technology to surface the best prices from a range of vendors so that they can get what they want and have more fun in the process. Now, that applies across all of our brands. This is T3, a men's lifestyle brand, but we also do the same in gaming, not just with games, but also with consoles, hardware, peripherals, all of that kind of stuff, even graphics cards. We do it in photography with cameras and accessories. We also do it in music with production equipment. And of course, for our heavy metal site, Metal Hammer, things like the top 50 guitars for shredding metal under 500 quid. So there you go. That's the new digital in 3 critical success factors for us. What we've learned: quality, quality, content of engagement and audience, diversification, not just of traffic sources, but of revenue streams, really making that content work hard, and to help us do that, really understanding the value both of the audience and that content that we create. And so in a world of fake news, the duopoly, and I hate to say it, I say it with a sad and heavy heart, Brexit, we think with those 3 things, we're slightly better equipped, wait for it, to boldly go and to navigate what is obviously the digital unknown. Thank you very much. Happy to take any questions.
Julian, thank you. If you have a question, do raise your hand, and I will try to get to you, or rather our experienced microphone wranglers will. I guess one from me to start with. You mentioned that Future has had a significant journey in the past 5 years. What were the things you had to overcome internally? I mean, this story sounds like a tremendous success story, but were there moments when things didn't go quite so well? What were the toughest obstacles to overcome to get where you are now?
Well, I can share with you, Mike, a couple. It really comes down to people like me, journalists at heart, really trying to get their heads around the new digital. And the new digital, for them, really involves getting right to the heart of that data, understanding, for example, firstly, search engine optimization, how to write an article so that it's marketed properly, and then secondly, this concept of providing e-commerce. Now, we don't think that's a dirty word. We don't think that's bad or evil. We're providing very honest, impartial advice with a range of retailers. And, we don't we're not all fanboys of big products. So it's actually providing, I believe, a really important job of journalism, which is answering the questions people want answers to.
So it's getting those journalists across that age-old barrier of, well, we don't do commerce, we're independent, and we couldn't possibly recommend.
That's exactly it. And so I'm well equipped as a journalist to try and empathize with them and get them over that line.
Great. Okay. If there are any more questions, do shout now. And if not, I'll ask you please to thank Julian. Thank you.
Thank you.